Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys, this is actually from a blog called My Scientology Story. Indoctrination, Betrayal, Escape, Freedom. The blog's got it all. And there's several posts, and I liked this one. Do you have to be in a cult to have a cult mindset? By Annie Hill. Dated January 31st, 2025. I've been working on my book again, finally, I know. And something keeps coming up that I don't think fits in there. But it's worth discussing, the cult mindset, at play all around us. I see it everywhere, and it's more rampant than ever these days, with our hyper-divided society. I'm not a cult expert. I don't have a degree in cult studies. What I do have is 20 years of lived experience in a cult, and then 17 years of study and observation when I got out. I keep on top of things to make sure I never get sucked back in. What is a cult mindset? It's a rigid, unquestioning belief about things, with no room for looking at any other viewpoint. Like the last 5 years throughout the world, but what do I know? It's black and white, us versus them. I'm right and you're wrong. Here are a few markers. Blind loyalty, following a leader or ideology without question. Fear of dissent, seeing disagreement as betrayal, leaving no room for discussion. Echo chambers, only engaging with ideas that reinforce existing beliefs. Algorithms, anyone? Moral superiority, thinking that anyone who doesn't believe a certain way is ignorant, evil, or needs saving. Manipulation tactics, using guilt, shame, or fear to keep people in line. Also, fear, obligation, guilt. Fog. I'm not saying this from any political position or religious ideology. And that's the point. Sure, we all have our value systems and beliefs. But when we become closed off to any other possibility or idea, that's when things get dangerous. In a cult, you aren't allowed to read or watch anything that contains a dissenting viewpoint from the cult leader. But you don't have to be threatened with punishment, like we were, to stop looking at other viewpoints. These days, the internet, particularly social media, does a fine job of feeding us exactly what we want to see, reinforcing our beliefs to the point where anything else seems completely crazy. And that's very culty. Over the years, I've become far more open to listening to others. Do I agree with them? Not always, and particularly when they say angry, hateful things. But I try to hear what they're actually saying between the rants. How do I know when I'm re-entering a cult mindset? It's not easy to get rid of decades of mind control and indoctrination, which is why I work on it every day. But I'm human. So some days I do better than others. I love having conversations that reinforce my beliefs. Don't we all? But that's not a problem as long as I stay open to other viewpoints. So what do I do when talking to someone who may be diametrically opposed to my way of seeing the world? I try to stay as present as possible. They speak and pay attention to my thoughts. Am I silently judging them? Do I have a wall up before they even begin talking? Am I actually listening to them or only listening to my already baked-in opinion of them? When I find myself doing that, I remind myself that I'm in no position to judge someone else for their beliefs. After all, I had some wild beliefs for many, many years. Look up Zeno and Body Thetans for some laughs. Over the past few years, I've asked myself over and over, why do XYZ people think that way? I just don't get it. Then I sit down one-on-one with someone who thinks that way and discover that things aren't as cut and dried as I thought. Life is about nuance. I've had some of the best conversations with people who don't agree with my viewpoint, but are willing to listen, discuss, and explain theirs. Labels don't help. Putting people into a category doesn't do anyone any favors. Categories are general and can be dehumanizing. That's exactly why Scientology placed everyone neatly in a category. Here are some fun ones. WOG, a derogatory term for anyone not a Scientologist, also a racial slur. Degraded being, a derogatory term in Scientology for someone who can't control their own life or environment. All WOGs are degraded beings to a Scientologist. Suppressive person, someone designated by Scientology as an enemy. SPs are to be silenced or destroyed. I'm a card-carrying SP and proud of it. Labeling others made it much easier to justify our actions, no matter how harmful. Why? Because as Scientologists, we were naturally superior beings. By categorizing people as other, we didn't have to look at the many things that made us similar, and that led to a lack of empathy. I was so hardened by my time in Scientology that it took me years to look at another person with compassion. People who know me now probably can't imagine this, but it's true. I was cut off emotionally from other people and saw their emotions as weakness. It separated me, and that's precisely what the cult mindset does, separate you from the rest of humanity. Look, things are wild right now. Many people I know and love are scared about the future, and I get it. There's no way to predict exactly what's going to happen. The only thing I have control of is how I treat myself and the people around me. If I can show some kindness and bring some joy into their lives, that's what I want to do. I'm willing to talk to anyone about anything and see where it leads us. Will I do it in an online forum? Hell no. That's just begging for pain. But I'll do it one way. I'll do it one-on-one any day. It makes life a lot less stressful, and it definitely keeps me out of a cult mindset. And out of a cult for good. Please like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day. I will leave a link in the description box. Peace.